Did you know that some of the most valuable historical records of a powerful African kingdom were stolen and are now scattered in museums across the West? This is just one of the many mysteries that shroud the vibrant and complex history of the African continent, a history that has often been deliberately obscured or simply overlooked. Welcome to African History Focus, where we delve into the untold stories, hidden empires, and suppressed facts of Black civilizations. Today, we are exploring some of Africa's greatest mysteries, shining a light on the evidence that redefines our understanding of the past. Let's begin with the Benin bronzes. These aren't just beautiful works of art, they are, in fact, a stolen royal archive. In February 1897, a British punitive expedition attacked and burned Benin City, now in present-day Edo State, Nigeria. The Oba, Ovonramwen Nogbesai, was deposed and exiled, and thousands of objects, collectively known as the Benin bronzes, were seized. These bronzes, numbering in the thousands, weren't mere decorations. They were court records, political history, and ritual documentation, a sophisticated system of state memory meticulously crafted over centuries. Plaques depicted dynastic succession, military victories, court rituals, trade relationships, and the very essence of royal authority. The British raid was not simply about acquiring artifacts, it was an act of imperial conquest and the systematic removal of Benin's wealth and historical memory. Next, we journey to Great Zimbabwe, a majestic city that stands as a testament to African ingenuity and architectural prowess. Constructed between the 11th and 15th centuries, this sprawling complex near modern Masvingo, Zimbabwe, is one of the largest and most sophisticated pre-colonial stone-built structures in sub-Saharan Africa. For years, European writers and colonial authorities refused to believe that Africans could have built such a magnificent city. They falsely attributed it to outsiders, such as Phoenicians, Arabs, or even figures from the Bible. This racist denial of African achievement was a deliberate attempt to erase the continent's rich history. Today, archaeological evidence irrefutably proves that Great Zimbabwe was built by ancestors of the Shona-speaking peoples, a vibrant civilization that thrived in southern Africa centuries ago. Our exploration continues with the Kingdom of Aksum, a powerful empire that flourished in northern Ethiopia and Eritrea from the 1st to the 10th century CE. Aksum was a major player in international trade, connecting the Red Sea, the Mediterranean, Arabia, and India. One of the most remarkable aspects of Aksumite civilization was its use of its own coinage, a clear indication of centralized state power and economic sophistication. King Ezana, who ruled in the 4th century CE, converted to Christianity, making Aksum one of the earliest Christian empires in the world. The legacy of Aksum challenges the notion of Africa as isolated and disconnected from global trade and cultural exchange. Now, let's travel west to the Mali Empire and the legendary Mansa Musa, who reigned from approximately 1312 to 1337. Mansa Musa's pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324 is one of the most famous events in medieval history. His immense wealth, displayed during his travels, left a lasting impression on Islamic and Mediterranean sources. The sheer scale of his entourage and the amount of gold he spent along the way showcased the vast resources of the Mali Empire, firmly placing West Africa in the global medieval narrative. Mansa Musa's story demonstrates the economic power and sophisticated governance of African kingdoms during this period. Shifting gears, let's consider a fascinating discovery in Ipswich, England. In 2018, archaeologists unearthed a skeleton dating back to between 1190 and 1300 CE. Scientific analysis revealed that the individual likely came from northern Africa or possibly southern Europe. This discovery provides concrete evidence of African presence in medieval England, challenging the misconception that medieval Europe was a racially homogeneous society. This individual could have arrived through trade, travel, warfare, pilgrimage, or even as part of a service network, highlighting the mobility and interconnectedness of people across continents during the medieval period. Moving further into the depths of the African past, we encounter the Saw civilization. This enigmatic culture thrived around the Lake Chad Basin, in what is now Cameroon, Chad, and Nigeria, from roughly the 6th century BC to the 15th century CE. They saw people left behind a wealth of terracotta, pottery, and metalwork, offering tantalizing glimpses into their society. However, much about their language, political organization, and origins remains uncertain, making them one of Africa's most intriguing historical puzzles. Their legacy demonstrates the sophistication of societies in Central Africa long before European contact. Let's now explore the Kingdom of Kush, a powerful civilization in ancient Nubia, largely in modern-day Sudan. From roughly 1070 BCE to 350 CE, Kush was a major force in the region, even ruling Egypt for a time. One of the most remarkable aspects of Kushite society was the prominence of female rulers, known as Kandaks, who held significant political power. Amenarinas and Amanishakito are just two examples of these powerful queen mothers and queen regnants who led Kush in battle and oversaw the kingdom's prosperity. The role of women in Kushite society challenges the often male-dominated narratives of ancient African history. Finally, let's address the persistent myth of lost cities in Africa. While many sites were once framed as mysterious and unknown, archaeology is gradually revealing their true histories. Places like Lydenburg Heads in South Africa, Mapungubwe, also in South Africa, and Gedi in Kenya, were once treated as anomalies, evidence of unknown outsiders. Today, they are recognized as integral part of complex African urban systems. These sites demonstrate that Africa developed sophisticated urban centers independently, challenging colonial narratives that denied African agency and innovation. The Benin bronzes, the magnificent ruins of Great Zimbabwe, the coins of Aksum, the wealth of Musa, the Ipswich skeleton, the artifact of the Saw, the queens of Kush, and the so-called lost cities all underscore a fundamental truth: Africa was a central player in global history, not a peripheral one. African states participated in Trans-Saharan, Red Sea, Indian Ocean, and Mediterranean trade networks. They were not outside history, but rather an integral part of the economic and political core of the pre-modern world. Colonial narratives, however, deliberately distorted African past, repeatedly claiming that Africans could not have built monumental structures, developed metalworking traditions, or established centralized states and urban civilizations. This led to the systematic misattribution of African achievements to outsiders. Archaeology has served as a powerful corrective to these racist myths. Sites such as Great Zimbabwe, Mapungubwe, Aksum, Benin City, Gedi, Meroe, and Genjeno demonstrate that Africa developed complex urban and state systems independently. The ongoing debates surrounding the repatriation of the Benin bronzes have transformed museum ethics, highlighting the importance of restitution, cultural property law, ethical collecting, and post-colonial justice. Returns by institutions in Europe and the US have increased pressure on museums to address colonial acquisition histories. The rediscovery and reevaluation of African medieval and ancient history have profound implications for modern identity. These discoveries support contemporary African and diaspora claims that African civilizations were literate, urban, technologically advanced, and globally connected. This understanding matters in education, heritage, nationalism, and cultural pride. Nigeria continues to seek the return of the Benin bronzes, and several institutions have returned or agreed to return items. This has fueled broader debates across Africa about the repatriation of heritage objects, forcing a reckoning with the legacy of colonialism and the imperative to reclaim Africa's stolen history. As we continue to uncover the mysteries of the African past, we must remain vigilant against the forces that seek to erase or distort it. By embracing a more nuanced and inclusive understanding of African history, we can build a more just and equitable future. Thank you for joining us on African History Focus. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more untold stories of African civilizations.